you will always find what you're looking for, even clients don't want to buy at this price point.
So in today's episode, we're going to talk about where you're stuck in your coaching business, why you can't progress, why you're plateauing, why you're maybe even going backwards, like maybe you're losing results. And I promise you that we'll always be able to pinpoint it to a really specific situation or behavioral trait of yours in your business. We're always going to be able to pinpoint why.
One thing that is a pattern I recognize is how often I meet people and I feel them on the call. I feel their energy. They just have it. They just have everything going for them. They're really going to go out there and just kill it. So we see patterns.
Yeah.
And it's so devastating to see someone who has such a huge potential, but they're letting it go because they are their biggest enemy themselves. They are in their way of their business. And of course, that is what we need to work with a lot of the times, but it could be so easy for so many people if that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
And that is what we're going to dig into. What are the patterns we see for most people? And since we work in the European market, I'm really curious about this. Do you feel there's any difference between our audience in Europe and audiences, let's say in US, Australia, like outside of Europe, how our personality is here?
Yeah, and I would also say that it's quite different within Europe as well, depending on what nationality you're speaking to. There are two different ways. So the first is very straightforward. We are behind in Europe in looking at the coaching industry. So I would say that we're at least 3 to 5 years behind the US and 1 to 3 years behind the Asian market. And the reason is because it's more exploited, and like coaching comes kind of from the US. It's grown out of that. The European market is like we are different culturally. And if trust is important in the US, trust is even more important in the European market. And then the Asian market, Australia and the entire East, they're somewhere in between.
I don't believe there's that big difference between continents because humans are humans.
Yeah.
But the only thing that is culturally is that we as Scandinavians, we are grown up with Jantelag. We can say it in a lot of different...
The law of Jante.
The law of Jante.
If you don't know what it is, Google it.
Yeah,
and then,
no, but it's quite shortly. It's about you are not more than anyone else. You should not be like... It's like putting yourself down.
Yeah, it's designed to keep you small.
It's designed to keep you small. And we kind of grown up with that. Not like we understand it's there, but culturally, you should not stand out and make a noise too much. And that is like the benefit they have in US because they're kind of treating it the other way, that you're being celebrated for daring to stand out. And I think that is hurting a lot of European coaches. That is really hard to stand out. It's really hard to take that contrarian spot because they don't, like a lot of people don't like to be contrarian. They don't like to be seen as someone who's different from everyone else. And I believe that we come from an area where we have social security, which means that we are safe. I feel like a lot of people are not really committing enough because...
Yeah, the worst thing that can happen is it's not so bad anyway.
It's not so bad. I don't really need it that much. Like, so you don't have that.
There is a social security system that takes care of you if you fall.
Yeah.
We're never going to experience that real threat of if I don't do this, then everything is going to blow into pieces.
So if we're looking at business is simple.
Yeah.
And making money in a coaching business is damn simple. Well, first of all, you do great marketing. You make some noise, you attract people, and you get people to see what you do. Like you do a marketing.
Yeah.
That's step number one. And you get people to raise their hand, show interest in what you do. Once they do that, you start having conversations with them and you invite them to the next step for them. It's quite simple. And then you have some conversion events, sales calls. You do some conversion and you help them, and then you deliver great results to them, and then you ask for referrals. It is not hard to run business, but the real issue is not the strategy. It is implementing the strategy.
Yeah, it's consistency.
Yeah, one of them is consistency. Absolutely.
Just because it's simple doesn't make it easy.
No.
And what does that mean? Simple, not easy, means that you need consistency. The simple things that needs to be done again and 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 again.
Execute consistently.
And again and again and again.
Yeah.
You can't stop.
No.
And it's not about building an addiction or a behavioral trait that is unhealthy. It's about taking responsibility to see it done.
Yeah.
And showing up consistently is hard.
Yeah.
But again, we mentioned trust a few sentences ago, and trust is such an important part. Try being a partner to someone, like in a relationship, and then you show up, you give a great date, and then you disappear, you don't contact them, and then all of a sudden you show up again and be like, hey, and then you expect the relationship to be the same while so many things have moved. I had a call with a student last week, and she had been like going through some stuff. Tragically, there have been some family health issues, and there have been some legitimate reasons. But so she's been off. She wasn't consistent with all those things. And now when she was stepping back, she felt it. She felt it in her body. And she was like, hey, how do I do this the best? Because I have a planned launch. It's half filled. I need to deliver to them. I can't postpone. I can't do anything else. The only thing that you can do that is really healthy is restart the game and start as many conversations you can in 3 days.
Yeah.
You can't disappear and come back and expect everything to be the same.
So that's the first thing that is the real problem, the real issue. And that is like staying consistent over time, all the time.
Literally, if we're looking at our students, when they are plateauing or not getting a result, it's always because of one of these simple problems. It's either inconsistency, it's mindset, it's limiting beliefs, fear, emotional regulation in like overall.
And standards.
Standards. One of the biggest one is standards.
Yeah.
There's always one of these things. It's not that my avatar is wrong or I'm attracting the wrong leads or they can't pay or that's the objection or blah, blah, blah. It's never that.
Yeah.
It's always about your conditioning in any one of these beliefs, mindsets, habits. If you're having a problem with any of them, that is always the reason why you stall.
I think it's important to recognize how invisible these patterns are, because we look for the technical thing or the strategic thing that is wrong, and we don't really question what could it be what could it be about me really. And if we're looking at the mindset, I believe most coaches are running, and this is funny because we work with coaches, and most coaches are educated to see these patterns with others, but it's really hard. You can't coach yourself. Like, you don't see them for yourself. But I like working with coaches because once you start mirroring what's actually going on, they recognize it. It's quite
usually pretty easy to help.
They're pretty easy to help in that way, because I think there's just these patterns that keeps running. We kind of need to mirror. But one of them that is kind of interesting is to see how the emotional regulation works for most people. And like one day there's like you're spiraling and it's like everything is amazing. This is the best ever. And then the next day everything is like under the rug. It's so hard.
Yeah.
It's exhausting, that emotional highs and lows all the time.
Emotional regulation is one part of it, and it's also a byproduct of what you believe.
Yeah.
And it's a byproduct of what you're focusing on.
Yeah.
And it's a byproduct. So solving the emotional regulation, solving your emotional distress is usually done within any of the areas of how you carry your body, what you're focusing on, and what you make it mean, which ties to beliefs.
Yeah.
So we're having a conditioned focus on how am I perceiving this challenge or myself or my coaching business or my clients or the struggles that I'm going through. The part with beliefs is that you need to be open to the possibility that what you believe and understand, it might be like a spaghetti strainer. It got holes in it.
Yeah.
It's not solid. Yeah. But it's built by you to help you preserve an idea of something. And at one point it worked. But now you need to upgrade and you need to see things from a different perspective. Yeah. Beliefs are like something we all carry. Some of them helps us and some of them are limiting.
Yeah.
Therefore, limiting beliefs.
If our beliefs is the truth,
Yeah.
which it is, because it's a belief, it's always true until I get a new belief.
Yeah, until you prove them wrong.
Until you prove them wrong, which means you will always be right. An example that is typically is that we see coaches lower their prices because they believe the reason they can't sell is because their price is too high. And when you start questioning, so how do you know your price is too high? Well, someone told me. Okay, great. How many told you? One person. Great. Could it be that person was not a fit? Could it be instead that person just was it just a money objection? But it wasn't that they couldn't believe. And what is the data? Like, are you basing your belief of data of one person in this complete universe? It's weird how often we have these stories and then we make major decisions based on false beliefs.
Yeah.
And that is what makes coaches change their mind or change their strategies, change their approach way too often for anything to work because, well, it didn't work. I tried it once and it didn't work because what I believe about it. And then I changed the approach.
Yeah.
And I start over.
Yeah, stop taking advice from people who doesn't have the results that you'd like to have.
Oh, God, that's a
And
bad
it's
idea.
it's just opinions. And it's opinions coming from a perspective that isn't necessarily your perspective.
Yeah.
You can't base your decision making on emotions.
Yeah.
You can't navigate life on emotions. Emotions are guidelines that helps you navigate. When you feel good, great, do more of that. When you don't feel good, great, figure out what's going on. What do you believe that makes it feel the way it feels? And we need to figure out what's the underlying cause. And we need to detach ourselves from that underlying cause so that we can see that it's not about me. Emotional regulation, you're going to solve through being open to investigate that your beliefs and what you think is true might not actually be true. And that takes care of that. I would like to talk about standards because I believe that is one of the most important ones.
Absolutely.
And first of all, like you love standards and I love standards, but you have a different view of it that I would like to hear about. But the first thing to realize about standards is that it's a conscious decision to make.
Yeah.
You decide on what kind of standard you're going to deliver.
Yeah. Well, first of all, what is standard? Standard is, Tony Robbins said this so smart, and I took it from there many years ago. You don't get it in life what you want, you get what you tolerate.
Yeah.
And I love that because I believe most people run too low standards. And why is that? Well, I believe that most people are tolerating low standards everywhere in life. Like we tolerate having bad relationships. We tolerate being in a bad shape. We tolerate different things depending on who we compare ourselves with. And I think that is the reason why we said before, we spent 60,000 a year just to be in a room with people
Who are far ahead.
Who are far ahead. We pay to be in those rooms. Why? Because people who are far ahead, they're only there because of one thing. They have higher standards. They don't mess around. They don't waste time. They don't have stories. They don't use excuses.
Less.
They don't tolerate.
They tolerate less.
They tolerate less. They have higher standards. So when you hang out with these people, you automatically grow higher standards.
Yeah.
And it's literally about what you tolerate. I love being in a room with people who are making a lot of money because these people, they don't fool around. They don't waste their time. They don't do coffee meetings. They do meetings with a purpose and intention. They're not okay with mediocrity.
Yeah.
They want good. They want the best. There's one thing I learned from people who are making a lot of money. People who make a lot of money, they invest money to save time. People who are broke will always find a way to save money.
Yeah, spend time to save money.
By spending more time. So it's about a completely different way of thinking. And let's take an example of a high standard and low standard. When you tell people, well, we want our students to have connection, because number 2 step in any marketing is having conversations with your audience. When we are saying, hey, you should be DMing people, and you ask someone, so let me know, how many people have you had conversations with the last week? And someone tell me 8. That is too low a standard.
Yeah.
And one thing that needs to happen in the business is if you want to have more clients, you need to have more conversations with more people. It's that simple, which means like if you have a standard of having one conversation a day, well, you're not going to get the business you want. I can tell you that. So a standard it is then, okay, but then let's raise the standard. Let's say the minimum standard, you are not going to tolerate having one conversation a day. Let's raise it to 20 a day. That's your minimum standard from today. For me, when I started my business, my minimum standard within content creation was I do, without any circumstances or excuses, anything, my minimum standard is that I'm doing 4 pieces of content every week, which means it doesn't matter if I'm on holiday. It doesn't matter I'm alone with my 3 kids. It doesn't matter all of those stories.
No.
My standard is no matter what happens is that I need to do 4 pieces of content.
Yeah.
My other standard is I need to have 20 chats every day. This is why I was very quick to make 20K a month.
Yeah.
Because that's my standard.
Yeah.
If I say something, if I promise something to someone, I'm not okay having a standard that I can just break my promise. That's a low standard in my world. If I say something, I freaking do it.
Yeah.
It's a standard I choose to have. It's a decision to have a standard. So,
and when it comes to standards, it's important to realize that it's a choice.
yeah.
And the moment you commit to a new standard, the emotional distress, it disappears the moment you commit.
Yeah. I think this is where it becomes so important who you spend time with.
Yeah.
Because most people spend time with people who are not business owners. People say, oh, but you should relax more.
Yeah.
That is a standard thing. I hear it so often, but you should relax. Don't work too hard. Like that's the kind of people you're hanging out with who always tell you not to work hard, take it easy, take it slow, you should take some time off, you're going to struggle in your business.
Yeah.
Because it's a low standard.
Yeah.
And I understand most people have a low standard, but most people don't want to build a business doing 7 figures.
And there is a disconnect.
Yeah.
Because many people dream about running a 7-figure business.
Yeah.
They talk about a goal being running a 7-figure business.
Not willing to
and
do
it sets them up for disappointment because they'll never reach it because they haven't committed to run a 7-figure business. So it's desire, talk, no action.
Yeah.
It's not about setting a standard that is unreachable because it needs to look a certain way. It's setting a standard that you know that from today, I'm going to do whatever it takes to uphold the standard and then do that. And that's why it's simple, not easy.
Yeah. Because a lot of people say, hey, I don't want to work too much. I want to have a business where I can work a little bit. I like 4 hours a day, 4 days a week, and say, awesome. Then you need to create it.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't come the first month. It doesn't come the first year. We have that business today.
Yeah.
But when we started, we couldn't afford having a team. We couldn't outsource. We couldn't do a lot of those things, which meant we did it ourselves.
Yeah, and
So you need to build
and
that.
the money that we did have and that I borrowed was invested in making sure that I hung out with people who had results that were better than I had.
And that is the most important. Like the most important thing about this episode is probably invest money, not just in learning stuff, but to be in a room with people who have higher expectations of you than you have and set higher standards, because your business will grow faster by being in those rooms where you don't hang out with people who accept mediocrity.
Yeah, and take on the responsibility to create the thing that you actually desire and take it seriously. Stop dreaming about it, build it.
Just do it.
And if you've loved this episode, then don't forget to like and subscribe and maybe send it to someone that you believe would benefit from hearing this.
And absolutely, if you want to be in a room with people with a higher standard, go below and schedule a call with us. We'll have a chat about what's the level that is the right level for you.
It's an exciting conversation. Do that.
Yeah.
And we'll see you in a new episode very, very
See you soon.